I've turned down a lot of money the last decade, not because I have a huge financial runway that affords me that luxury. I don't. And not because the money wouldn't help. It would. I have debts, I have bills, I have aspirations, and I like nice things. I turned down that money because it felt like the right thing to do. That's it. It's simple. I've made a pretty big bet with my life. My wife, Miriam, and I both have. We only do things that feel right to us. And when something feels sticky, wrong, off, we don't do it. Sounds easy enough when you say it, and a lot of people would be quick to agree with us. That sounds great. They'd say, of course. But, you have to be responsible, right? You have to be reasonable, right? You trust yourself, trust your gut, but you also have to follow the rules, be a good person. You got to do what you got to do, right? Well, no. If it's off, I don't do it, no matter what. Like, that's the end of the sentence. There's no buts, no conditions, no appeals to responsibility, compassion, reasonableness, or feasibility. That's it. And sometimes that means letting an open door pass me by. Things that a lot of people might see as an opportunity, or even as some sign from the universe of what direction to go next. Things like the perfect financial solution falling in my lap when I'm in peak terror of how my life's going to work out, or peak shame about whether I'll ever amount to anything. It's the kind of opportunity that viscerally feels off. That's the exact opposite of where I know I'm being called to go in my life, that feels like it would absolutely drain me of my will and my soul. But it'd solve my problems, right? It'd be okay for now, right? I started channeling in 2016. At the time, I was an internet marketer. I just started building websites in the personal development space, and I became one of a handful of names that was getting passed around and referred. I had dreams and goals to scale up a full-blown marketing agency, and it seemed pretty feasible. There were way more coaches and business owners at the time than there were people who knew how to build the infrastructure, run ads, set up their email marketing, or use ClickFunnels. I was in the right place, in the right time, and I was good at it. It's the kind of opportunity that doesn't come around often. But channeling, well, I was good at that too, and it meant something to me that marketing just couldn't. About 6 months of channeling in my room by myself, I started telling people about it. I started posting videos on Facebook to my whole network at the time. About 3,000 friends and acquaintances all over the country. I got all sorts of comments. Some good, but I don't remember those. Some bad, like, you okay, bro? This is crazy. Delusions of grandeur. Beware the Antichrist. What happened to you? You used to be so grounded. You'd think that would have closed some doors for me, but it really didn't. I was in a pretty spiritual community, so I still had plenty of opportunity. Still had referrals, still had work. So I did both. I built sales funnels and posted videos of me channeling. A few more months go by, and the experience of channeling started to mean more to me than I thought things could mean to me. So for better or worse, with plenty of doors still wide open, I started backing away from marketing and my only income stream, saying no to the opportunities, to the referrals, to the easy paychecks. And then, a few more months, I felt a strong urge to quit entirely. I didn't exactly love that idea, but it was the truest truth I had in me. What are you going to do, My biggest client at the time was paying me $1,000 a week, which isn't a lot to some people, but to me, in the earliest stages of building something, it was a lot. His business structure started to change up, new people were getting hired on, and I felt this distinct opening, like it was time to go, so I did. I didn't have savings. I didn't replace my income with 6 months of hard work where I build something else on the side to make my life financially stable as a channel. At some point, I just left because it felt right, and it felt like it was time. Almost immediately after I quit, still freshly panicked and uncertain, I got asked to work on a completely different project from a completely different team. It was less work, fewer hours, and the exact same salary. As a channel, I was maybe making $250 a month. $4,000 a month was like how I'd pay my bills and live a life. But I didn't take the job. And I became a full-time, poor, but full-time channel. It was abundantly clear to me that it was the right decision. Everything in me knew it was right. But as you can imagine, it wasn't an easy decision or an exciting decision. It was just right. That's it. Looking back, it was a difficult financial time, but I don't regret it by any means. I wouldn't undo it or even change the timing of it. It was this defining moment for me, choosing twice to trust my deepest inner knowing, even in the depths of the roaring emotional waves of fear, panic, and uncertainty. But it's not like that was the moment, right? That kind of decision doesn't just happen once. There have been at least a dozen other big and obvious moments like that, times I had to choose very plainly between money, responsibility, certainty, safety, and what I knew to be right. But that decision's also sort of always happening, to not compromise. That's the bet I'm making here. It's never a clean and easy decision based on facts and experience or expert advice. It's an uncertain bet, and it viscerally feels like a bet every time. Like I'm wagering all of my opportunity, my dreams, fame, wealth, prestige. I'm betting all of it, that my life will still function if I choose to trust myself that deeply and never compromise, ever. I fully understand that might mean I live a normal, mediocre, less respected, less glamorous, unworthy of social media kind of life. I know what I'm betting. I'm betting my potential, my future, on a feeling, a personal, internal experience that's completely unacknowledged by 99% of the people around me. But I also have this hunch deep down that it not only functions, meaning I'm not going to die of financial ruin and shame under a bridge somewhere, but that it might actually be the only way to live a life I care about. At this point, it just seems obvious to me that if I'm compromising my deepest truth, I can't then expect to be content or at peace. To me, that kind of compromise sounds like the literal definition of selling my soul, and when that's for money, just money, it just seems like a bad trade. I obviously wonder how far I can really get in this life if I never make those compromises, never bend that inner knowing even a little bit. I do feel deep down that this does go somewhere, that it's a path to something genuinely good, fruitful, abundant, and that feels right every step of the way. But I also look at my life, and right now that bet means working as a handyman, doing maintenance for a condo complex, working harder for less money than I know I'm otherwise capable of making. Today, that means putting on waders and standing knee-deep in a 40-degree stream to clear leaves out of this drainage pipe by hand. I'm fully aware that I can make more money doing something that's on paper all around better. I could go back to what I used to do. I can sit down and build a website that sells a product that I buy for cheap and push with social media ads. Or if I wanted something even more certain, I could network my way into a nice cushy 9-to-5 and call it a day. It's all available. There are plenty of open doors, and I never stopped seeing opportunity. It's just that opportunity isn't right. And I know that. So I trust that. I never thought I'd be a handyman, not even once. But the need was there. It was obvious to me. And it was obvious that it was mine to do. Everything I'm doing here feels right, in the same way that those other open doors feel wrong. Does that mean that this is it? This is my calling, my purpose? Should I double down and scale this business into bathroom renovations, kitchen remodels, more, faster? No. It's right as it is, right now, in its current form. And that's as far as it goes. Which means if I'm going to trust that knowing, if I'm going to keep my soul intact, well, then I have to keep making that bet. It's easy to say that selling your soul is never worth it. That feels true. Sounds like words worth living by. But when you have an eye for opportunity, and you watch those open doors pass you by, it's hard not to count the dollar signs. It's hard not to dream of the life those opportunities might afford you. It's not so simple or easy or clear to actually live by those words, because it always feels like a bet. But as odd as it might sound to some people, I wouldn't trade my life for anyone's. I want this. This life. There are no compromises keeping me up at night. No deep moral crisis about the life I'm living. There's nothing I can point to anymore that feels wrong or like it needs to urgently change. There's just me, inside of my mundane, normal life, and that feeling of rightness underneath all of it. I look back before I made this bet, and I can't help but notice the unshakable feeling of existential crisis. There has to be more to life than this. How do I get there? What do I need to do? How much more money? When do I get to the next place, the better place? When does my life start? When do I feel better? I still, of course, have plenty of challenges and plenty of strong opinions about how crappy life can feel sometimes. It's not joy every moment. It's not even joy every day. But underneath it all, everything feels right. It took a long time to be able to say that. A lot of relationships to end, communities to exit, jobs to quit, and plenty of money to leave on the table. I sometimes take it for granted, but ending that compromise also ended that existential crisis. Deep down, my life is either right and true, or it's not. And when it's not, no amount of money or opportunity, attention, love, friends, sex, power, excitement, anything can make up for it. I tried. It doesn't work. Now that I have that rightness, would I trade it back? I know this doesn't make sense or mean much of anything to a lot of people. It's taken me a long time to realize that. But I also know it means everything to some people, and it means everything to me. If you're like me, and you can't just ignore that relentless inner knowing, I can only imagine you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I mean by rightness. It's rarely the exciting path, or the path of opportunity, fame, or fortune that calls us. At least at first, it's just the life we already have, minus the compromise. My biggest dreams and aspirations, helping people, making an impact, living an abundant, good, full life, that potential can feel far sometimes. And it can feel impossible to get anywhere unless I kick into gear and compromise my way into that predictable formula that outputs money, prestige, or luxury. So is it worth it, that bet? To trust myself, to never compromise and risk my potential? Risk the promise of that good, happy, fruitful life? I like to think that a deeply soul-aligned life actually goes much further than any compromise ever could. I like to think that a life that maintains that rightness must inevitably go somewhere good, impactful, abundant, and deeply meaningful. And I like to think that the only reason so many people live inside of constant regret and existential crisis is because they haven't figured that out yet. That compromising on your deepest soul truth can never be worth it. I really do believe to my bones that this bet pays off, and rather spectacularly. But it's still a bet. And whether or not it goes anywhere, ever, this is the bet I'm making.